Hollywood earthquake, Dakota Johnson announces end of relationship with Jamie Dornan. For nearly a decade, Dakota Johnson and Jamie Dornan have been considered one of Hollywood's most famous, unofficial couples. They never confirmed that they were dating, but their gazes at each other in interviews, their lingering hugs behind the scenes, and especially their incredible on-screen chemistry made audiences around the world believe that there was real love between them. Since the 50 Shades trilogy, Dakota and Jamie have become symbols of a passionate but secretive love. They once said they were soulmates, the people who understood each other best behind the camera. But for the media and fans, every little gesture was enough to spark speculation. Are they hiding something? Everything seemed peaceful, until Monday morning, a day no one expected. Dakota Johnson appeared before hundreds of reporters at a sudden press conference in Los Angeles, eyes red, voice hoarse, and said one sentence that struck Hollywood like a thunderbolt. Jamie Dornan and I, with all due respect, will no longer be in any kind of relationship, shape or form. The truth behind the halo. The news spread like wildfire. From TMZ to Variety, from Twitter to CNN, everyone used the same phrase: the relationship is over. Number one understood what had happened. Because just a few weeks ago, Jamie had appeared quietly at the premiere of Dakota's new movie, sitting in the third row, not speaking, not taking pictures, but the look he gave Dakota was enough to make the entire audience hold their breath. A source close to Dakota's team revealed that, over the past 6 months, the relationship between the two had been full of conflict. After going through personal psychological crises together, they seemed to start going two different paths. Jamie, whom Dakota once described as the strongest shoulder, gradually became distant. His packed schedule, consecutively signed projects, and unannounced trips made Dakota feel left behind. Jamie changed. Dakota once told a close friend, "He no longer asked me if I slept well, if I ate well. He lived as if I were a temporary part of his memory." Unresponsive letters. The close friend, who remained anonymous, also shared that Dakota had written many letters to Jamie, but most of them were not sent. She wrote in them her anger, disappointment, but most of all, her love that had not died. "You were the only one who knew what it meant when I was silent. Now, silence is all we have left." Jamie did not speak. He disappeared from social media for the first 72 hours after the press conference. He didn't answer the press, didn't post anything, didn't appear. That was the time when the public began to question, was there a real relationship between them, deeper than friendship? Behind the scenes of A Silent Love, director James Foley, who directed the final part of 50 Shades, shared a mysterious quote on his Instagram story. "There are things people never confess, until they lose." That quote was quickly shared millions of times by the online community. Was he referring to Jamie Dornan, a man who doesn't know how to keep the woman by his side when she is at her weakest? Some reporters even dug up an old clip of Dakota, when she participated in a talk show and was asked, "If you could choose any man to grow old with, who would you choose?" Dakota didn't hesitate then. "Jamie. No need to think. H's home, in a way. When love turns into wounds." A week after Dakota's announcement, Jamie Dornan appeared in an interview in Toronto. His eyes were dark, his voice deeper than usual. When asked about Dakota, he simply said, "There are things I will carry with me for the rest of my life. Dakota is one of them. But sometimes, love doesn't mean keeping it." That statement broke the hearts of fans. Because they once believed that love could exist without a title. That in the midst of Hollywood scandals, there was still something real, even if it was just in the eyes. Rumors and gaps. Soon after Dakota's announcement, many sources began to add fuel to the fire, Some said she was dating a young producer. Others claimed that Jamie was the one who pulled out of a new collaboration project with Dakota, leaving her feeling betrayed. Although the truth is unclear, one thing is certain: they are no longer on the same path. Dakota unfollows Jamie on Instagram. A small gesture, but for fans, it was the final confirmation. The Jamie Dakota Forever fan pages changed their names, or announced they were shutting down. A final letter. 3 weeks later, in an exclusive with The Hollywood Reporter, Dakota elaborated for the first time on the reasons for the split. She wrote a handwritten letter, which was published verbatim. "Dear Jamie, I thought silence was a way to protect what was fragile between us. But it was that silence that broke everything. I don't blame you for not choosing me. But I blame us for not having the courage to say what we really felt. I love you, in a way I've never loved anyone before. And maybe that's the last thing I need to admit. Goodbye, Jamie." After the breakup, 2 separate worlds. Jamie Dornan is currently filming an ambitious indie film in Iceland. Meanwhile, Dakota Johnson has just signed on to direct her first film, which is said to be inspired by a love that cannot be named. They move on, separately, no longer looking at each other. But somewhere, there are still eyes of longing. And Hollywood stops sighing. Hollywood has witnessed hundreds of broken love stories. But with Jamie and Dakota, people do not regret that they did not come together, but regret that the feelings are too real to exist in this fake world. Fans still hope one day they will meet again, not as Christian Grey and Anastasia Steele, but as themselves, people who once loved each other quietly, once broke up in tears, and maybe, one day, love again.